Another sensational performance from the 21-year-old.
Eala has done it again. She is officially through to the final of the Washington Open after taking down former world number 1 and 4-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka in what has to be one of the most stunning results of the entire WTA season. But make no mistake, this is not just another win to add to the list, and it's not just a ticket punch to another final. This is a statement. This is Eala telling the entire tour, loud and clear, that she isn't some passing story of the summer. She is here to stay, and she is here to reign over women's tennis for a long time to come. Think about what it actually took to get to this point. Osaka isn't a name fading into irrelevance. She's a woman who has lifted 4 major trophies and sat at the very top of the sport. Beating her isn't a lucky bounce or a bad day for the opponent. It's a 21-year-old going toe-to-toe with a legend and coming out the other side looking like the more complete player on the day. And Eala didn't just scrape past her, she dismantled her in straight sets. To understand how big this is, you have to look at the entire road Eala walked to even get here. She opened her Washington campaign by outlasting Olympic champion Qinwen Zheng in a gritty 3-setter that could have gone either way. Then she turned around and got her revenge on Leylah Fernandez, the defending champion of this very tournament, brushing her aside in straight sets without much fuss. After that, she ran into Alina Svitolina, a former top 10 mainstay who Eala had already beaten once this year on the grass in Berlin, and she humbled her all over again, 6-3, 6-4, on a hard court this time, proving that first win was no fluke either. 3 seeded players down before she even got to the semifinal. And then Naomi Osaka walked into the stadium thinking she was about to be the wall that finally stopped this run. She was wrong.
It's a first tour-level hard-court final for Eala, but you get the sense, Andrea.
The match itself started off tense. Osaka came out swinging, clearly aware that anything less than her sharpest tennis would get punished by a player who had already sent 3 seeds packing that week. The opening set kept swinging back and forth, point after point, both players trading holds and neither one willing to blink. It stayed locked at 3 games apiece deep into the set. But then something shifted. Eala started finding her rhythm on the return, picking apart Osaka's second serve and making her work for every single point. Osaka clawed her way to a 4th game, saving break points along the way to stay alive, but it was already too late. Eala closed out the remaining 2 games to snatch the first set right off Osaka's racket, sealing it in a tidy 38 minutes. Then came the second set, and this is where things got brutal. It became obvious almost immediately that Eala was not interested in letting this match breathe. She wanted it finished, and fast. Osaka, to her credit, tried to mount a comeback. She's built her entire legacy on stepping up when her back is against the wall. But trying to pull off a comeback against a player who has quietly become the tour's own comeback queen this season proved to be an impossible task. Osaka's game started fraying under the pressure. A double fault here, a wayward backhand there, and Eala pounced on every mistake. She closed the set out 6-2, and just like that, it was over. Naomi Osaka, 4-time major champion, was beaten by a player who wasn't even ranked inside the top 25 a few months ago. And that's really the heart of why this feels bigger than a normal win. Eala didn't just get through this match, she controlled it. She won nearly 80% of her second serve points. She dictated rallies against a woman known for her raw power. She held her nerve serving out the biggest match of her career without so much as flinching. That is not the profile of a player riding a hot streak. That is the profile of a player who belongs at the top and knows it. After the match, Eala didn't hide how much this meant to her. She said she was super proud of her performance, that she played really well, kept a great mentality, and stayed locked in until the very end. Simple words, but they capture exactly what this run has been about. This isn't a fluke. This is a player who has figured out how to stay composed against the biggest names in the sport, match after match, week after week, and she is doing it with a calmness that players twice her experience still struggle to find. Consider the bigger picture of her season so far. This win over Osaka marks her 6th victory over a top 10 player in 2026 alone. 6. That's not a number you stumble into by accident. That's a number built by a player who has rewired her game to actually beat the very best, not just hang around them. Earlier this year, she became the first player from the Philippines to ever reach the 2nd week of a Grand Slam at Wimbledon. She's picked up wins on clay, on grass, and now on hard courts, across completely different surfaces and completely different styles of opponent. That kind of versatility is exactly what separates a one-tournament wonder from a player who is about to become a fixture at the top of the sport for years.
In my bag, and it helps with the confidence, it helps with the self-esteem. And of course, it makes you feel strong, but I think, strength is...
Now she is set to face Jessica Pegula in the final, and this matchup carries its own storyline. These two have actually met before, back at the Miami Open in 2025, where Pegula got the better of Eala in the semi-final on Eala's big breakthrough run. Eala hasn't forgotten that. She's spoken about how much she's grown since that match, saying she feels more well-rounded now, physically a little better, with improved strokes and a serve that has come a long way. This final in Washington is her chance to settle that score, and settle it on a much bigger stage than before. A win here wouldn't just be revenge, it would hand her the very first WTA title of her career, and it would come at the WTA 500 level against the tournament's top seed, guaranteeing her a jump into the top 20 of the world rankings. Everybody watching this tournament is obviously hoping to see Eala complete the fairy tale and lift the trophy. But even if Sunday doesn't go her way, what she has already achieved this week is massive on its own. Just reaching this final is an accomplishment most players never get close to in their entire careers. Look at the names she walked through to get here. Qinwen Zheng, an Olympic gold medalist. Leylah Fernandez, the reigning champion of this exact event. Alina Svitolina, a former top 10 fixture she had to beat for a second time this season. And now Naomi Osaka, a legend of the sport in her own right. Every single one of those matches had its own story, its own pressure, its own moment where Eala could have folded. And every single time, she stood tall. She didn't get overwhelmed by the occasion. She didn't shrink against the bigger name across the net. She just kept doing what she does best, playing fearless, aggressive tennis and trusting her game completely. That's what makes this run so special, and why it reads as so much more than just another good week. It's not one big upset, it's a pattern. A very deliberate and repeated pattern of a young player systematically beating the players who are supposed to intimidate her. So now it all comes down to Sunday. Jessica Pegula, an experienced former US Open finalist chasing her 12th career title, against Alex Eala, a rising force chasing her first ever WTA trophy and the confirmation of everything her season has been building toward. The stage is set. Alex Eala isn't just knocking on the door of the WTA's elite anymore. She's already standing inside the room. And after this win over Osaka, everyone on tour knows it.